Hey guys, it's Ashley.
And it's Brayden.
If you're looking for a fat trike or an off-road trike, you're gonna wanna watch this video. Go. You know, last week we took the wild one out with the Rebel, and today we're taking the CXS out with the Rebel. So we've got two trikes.
Fat tires.
Yeah, 20x4 fat tires. You know, I'm on the Sunseeker Fat Tad CXS, arguably the most popular trike that we sell.
Oh yeah.
In different configurations. People love these mean tires, and more than anything, they love that price tag.
I would say it's for a couple of reasons, right? It looks the part, but also pretty economically viable.
Yeah, I think we have to say you can buy 3 of these trikes for the price of one of those.
Right.
You know, what we're really looking today, is it worth it?
Right, and I think we're gonna see this first test of strength here.
Yeah, so we're gonna do off-road, and we're gonna start with this curb here.
I'm gonna hit it real quick. Let's see what we're looking at.
Now, see, one thing I've never felt comfortable jumping this big of a curb on the CXS here. So usually when I approach it, I'm doing 3-wheel drive. And I get over it like that.
What do you think, that's a confidence thing?
I have hit it hard before, and it really, you know, it kind of hurts. I mean, as we go riding today, that we're gonna find out, you know, the CXS, while it is a full suspension trike, that front suspension is only 1 inch. I'm a 250-pound rider, and with my weight on there, I maybe have a 1/4 inch of travel.
Which is pretty vastly different from the Stein I'm on.
Yeah, I mean, where the SteinTrike has inches of travel, and you can see that, you know, as we're bouncing up and down, you're gonna see those arms go. Got a camera mounted down here. Hopefully we see some action in the CXS here.
Well, you know, you saw me bomb that pretty confidently. I didn't feel it enough. If we can spend a little bit of time here, I want to bomb that CXS on that curb.
If you want to try bombing it,
yeah,
let's do it.
Let's get that done.
Okay. All right, guys. Well,
we'll spend some time on this curb. Just show off that suspension a little bit better. Well, I guess the difference in suspension, right?
You know, if you're willing to bomb it there, I'll go ahead and I'll bomb it here too.
Oh, sure.
You know, on this.
Both get a feel for it, right?
You know, when you take that drop, this suspension is just very smooth. And I go ahead and I'm gonna hit this.
It looked like butter. Okay, here I come.
Yeah. All right.
It did do it.
It did do it.
I did feel a little bit of a bounce, but that bounce I felt honestly feels more like it comes from the tires than the suspension.
You know, that's really it, is I think you're counting a lot more on the tires there on the CXS.
Right.
When I'm hitting this bump here, you know, I'm hitting this curb, and you
hit it while you were talking. I had to stop.
Well, I hit that curb and it's actually smooth.
So here, I'll hit it again. My back's not looking forward to it. You watch that.
Yeah, a little bit rougher.
Oh yeah.
You know, there you go though. I mean, can you do it? Yes. You know, one of the things that you'll find with these off-road fat tire trikes is when you're riding off-road or you're dealing with curbs and logs and rocks and bumps, you're going to ride at your limit, right? And maybe not the trike's limit. You know, and that's what I find when I'm riding off the road like this. Having a trike that I feel comfortable in, and I can ride as hard, fast as I want to while I remain at a certain comfort level.
You know, I can handle that curb, I can handle that bump. I couldn't do that all the time.
Right.
And I'm already kind of feeling it, you know? If I had a lot of trail where I had to climb something as steep or as tall as that, you know, this suspension frankly doesn't cut it.
Well, we're back on the service road here. Hope we're getting some good suspension shots where you can see these bouncing up and down. Both of these trikes have a similar rear single pivot swing arm with a coil over shock. It's functional. It works well.
Say the rear suspension on most of these recumbent trikes always feels great.
It's that front suspension that makes that big difference, whether you're hitting those big bumps, jumping it, whatever you're doing. We got to go off road.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know, I will put out there that both of these we set up so that the gear ratios match. And they match what comes stock on the CXS there.
We're talking about suspension and everything. Here we are doing some off-road, and off-road always means different things for different people. Here on this sort of off-road path, I think I have the edge with the suspension my Trike's got. I'm not losing any power here.
The suspension on the Stein, it's a little more draining as we've determined, but it's so much smoother.
That's true.
Yeah, this is just fun.
I'm excited to be back out here.
Yeah, so I'm really noticing off-road suspension is just so nice.
Yeah, as we come into these rocks, I'm feeling bumpy. Say we had to switch Trikes back over. I wanted to feel that Stein and that off-road patch again.
Yeah, so in this video, guys, you're gonna see us switching Trikes a lot back and forth as we encounter different terrains so that we can really make a good comparison on these. You know, one thing I'm already feeling with the CXS here sits up quite a bit higher.
It does. I feel a lot lower here.
Yeah, I do like this higher seat. The gearing, as we stated, is the same gear ratio on both of these, but it is not the same quality gearing. The CXS, being a trike that costs about a third of the Stein there, you know, is much more entry level.
We're using the Sunrace twist shift and the Sunrace derailleur.
It has the 8-speed in the rear, and you've got the 10-speed with the SRAM bar and shifters. You've got a little bit smoother shifting than what's on this CXS here.
I gotta say, this was a lot more luxurious of a ride second time through on the Stein.
Yeah.
It was that CXS.
So not only is the CXS a little bit higher seated, my feet are a lot higher compared to the seat.
It's hard to say which one I like more or less. I almost feel like I can push more on this Stein.
You know, you have a higher bottom bracket to seat height on the Stein there. You can push a little bit harder. So far, I think, as far as terrain goes, nowhere that you're going on the Stein that we haven't been able to take the CXS at this point.
I mean, super worth pointing out. Again, that costs a third of what this does.
Yeah, one reason why people might consider one over the other is, you know, if you got to get a motor, you know, if you're going to have a Fat Tire Trike and you want to put a motor on it with the CXS, I could still probably get 2 CXS Trikes.
Right, with motors for the same price as one of these with the motor.
Right now riding, this is it's a dirt road. It's, you know, and we could ride every trike on this road pretty much. You know, there's nothing that's really stopping us. But when I was riding the Stein just now, it was buttery smooth.
It is.
I feel comfortable on the CXS here. All those little potholes and bumps do kind of feel like they rock me around a little bit more.
We always joke, you know, it's a recumbent trike. It's like riding my Lazy Boy. This is as close to my Lazy Boy as it gets.
Yeah, I do feel a little more beat up riding this CXS. You know, it does kind of throw you around a little bit. Part of that is too the steering.
I say, we haven't talked about it yet. That was the most jarring difference, I think, between the two, you know, riding wise and controlling them. Your direct horizontal handlebars are vastly different than this indirect vertical bars.
That's something that we've talked about on multiple other videos. Direct steering versus indirect. Pretty much on any trike, having indirect steering like what the Stein has there, a little smoother on your arms because it isolates that road vibration even more from your hands.
Well, I'm not directly attached to the head tubes, you know. I don't feel every vibration.
I'm attached directly here.
You know, I gotta ask, because I always think it comes down to preference more than anything. Your horizontal bar versus your vertical bars.
Sure. Yeah, the vertical bars tend to be the standard on nearly all of our recumbent trikes. You know, naturally, when your hands, with your arms just kind of sit to the side of you, they kind of rest in that position. So it's much more comfortable. And like I can tell you even right now, if I just put my hands down here and I'm holding them vertically, it feels more comfortable than when I'm putting my arms out here. When I'm putting my arms up and horizontal, my arms are wider.
Right.
And
it
so
definitely feels like a wider profile. I mean, it does, you know, it really doesn't necessarily change anything other than your stance.
I feel more the weight of my arm, both in my shoulder and my elbow. Something that you do get used to.
Right.
But I know from experience, doing longer rides with the horizontal bars like this, you do end up feeling it in your arm a lot more. One of the reasons why they do it though is so that you have more leverage.
But that's what I wanted to point out. You know, the CXS being a fat tire trike requires more effort to push on. And with it being direct, I couldn't imagine those being vertical bars.
You know, it's one thing, it comes down to the steering geometry. You know, there's plenty of trikes out there that have direct steering, like the Cat Trikes, for example. You know, and they use a 2-piece handlebar. The vertical portion of your handlebar is several inches away from that steering pivot point, the head tube. And so, you know, you have more leverage, plus you have a little bit more isolation. And when I'm holding my hands here on this vertical position, my hands are, you know, maybe 2 or 3 inches away.
Right.
So I do not have a lot of leverage.
You think being positioned is almost mandatory? Yeah,
you really don't have that much control. So I think on the CXS, these horizontal handlebars are pretty much mandatory.
Right. Each trike brand kind of designed it with a purpose, right?
Right.
They wouldn't have done it unless it was required.
Right. Well, and it's simple, it's easy, it fits that price point.
Right.
Now, last week when we rode, you know, I was on the SteinTrike and I was riding all the way over in the shoulder. So I'm going to do that again, but today I'm going to do that on the CXS. And you can definitely feel it's a little more bumpy.
Well, just to point something out, you immediately lagged behind hopping off-road on the CXS. When we were on the Steins last week, you were keeping up with me when I was on road.
Yeah.
But that smoother suspension does make you faster when it comes to off-road.
You know, and I'm definitely feeling it, like riding on the Stein with that full suspension here all the way in the shoulder. Not only is it smooth, it really isolates you from the road. You know, I didn't really even think about, but I'm noticing it now. It's a significantly more difficult keep myself going perfectly straight when every bump is, you know, hitting a wheel at a different time.
You actually feel like you're being pushed by the road.
Yeah, it's not insurmountable comparing this to, you know, a road trike with skinny tire wheels. You know, that would be brutal.
You wouldn't have taken it where you're taking this CXS right now.
No. And if it wasn't for making a comparison against the SteinTrike, I would say, hey, this isn't that bad.
Relatively speaking, they both do a pretty good job.
Yeah. And again, I think it all comes down to kind of the motto of this video here. If you want a smoother ride and that's your main priority, I think it's going to be really hard to beat the Stein.
Oh yeah.
Last week, when we were on this same section of road right here, I was talking about the Stein seat, specifically
how
the
it's
seat
laced
mesh
up
and how it's laced. How that's probably my least favorite part about the SteinTrike. The Stein seat, though, I will say, is very comfortable. The CXS seat is also a mesh. It's very comfortable, but the more bumps that we're encountering, the more that we're riding here, the more I'm missing that upper shoulder
up here,
support.
upper back.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, just to compare them directly, that bottom phone, I think, does a lot more for you on the CXS than the lace does on the Stein.
Yeah, so right here on the bottom, there is this little layer of foam, you know, which is pretty nice.
Say, does it feel awkward on your rear? Because I'm feeling
I mean,
on
it
my
is
Stein.
nice. Like, I don't feel any straps or anything. What I feel more than anything, though, is the shortness
Wish
of
it came
the
up
seat.
a couple
I
more
wish
inches.
it was 6 inches taller.
I feel like I'm being hugged on the upper portion of the Stein.
Right.
I can actually push back on it, put my whole body into it.
Yeah, you know, we're back on these old deserted railroad tracks here. This section here is not too bad
No.
because there's no railroad ties.
This makes me the most anxious. This is where we're gonna see the biggest difference in that suspension. I'm glad I'm on the Stein first.
One thing that I'm just noticing too, I'm in my lowest gear in the front right now, and I'm about in my lowest gear in the back. If the ride wasn't so rough, I would be in a higher gear and I'd be able to go faster.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because that's the position I'm in.
Yeah.
No, I'm slowing down for you here.
Yeah, and I can kind of tell, like, I know that I would be going faster if the ride was smoother.
My suspension's just making it a smooth.
Right.
I can put power down without feeling like I'm losing anything. Last time we were out here, we had a skinny and a fat. Now that we're both on fat out here, now this isn't the loosest terrain, but it's definitely gravel.
Right.
Got plenty of traction.
The nice thing with fat tires on looser terrain, they just kind of roll over everything a little bit smoother. You know, it's not a bad ride. And we're going. This is totally manageable. For me right now, I really, more than anything, I feel like that lack of suspension is really just affecting my speed potential.
Your power output?
Yeah.
I get you. If you had a motor here, maybe that wouldn't be the case.
We're gonna have to motorize these. We take our pedaling effort out of the equation and we just go, what's the raw trike feel like? Last time when we were out here, I think I even said, I don't think I would want to take any other trikes on this track. I feel like we just kind of have to, you know, to really see how well it's gonna go. All right, guys, well, once again, I'm on bumpiest path that I've ever been on. The real issue here is it's really hard to talk.
I would say it's funny watching you back here. It feels relatively smooth.
You know, I could say last time we rode on this, it felt very smooth, and this is, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's almost like a punch in the gut every bump here.
I'm almost excited to see how the cameras pick this up. See if this feels level.
Part of the issue is with the CXS suspension, it's just so minimal, especially if you're a rider 200 pounds or more. I just don't think that the suspension's really gonna do much for you. This is brutal. This is not sustainable. Like, I don't think that I would ever want to choose this trike for this kind of bumps. This is insane. You know, especially since the SteinTrike is so smooth.
Well, you know what it tastes like now on a Stein. If you've had enough, I'd be happy to switch you.
That's like I need to get a little switchy.
Get some perspective on there again.
This is instant comfort. This is amazing.
I'm feeling it.
The combination of the suspension and the seat. I take back anything I said that sounded negative about the seat, guys. Right now, this seat is the best seat in the world.
Gosh, you really can't talk while riding this one. Oh, you know, my gosh.
And I definitely am feeling the bumps on this.
Yeah.
But I'm not feeling the impact of the bumps.
I can't help but think about my poor little spokes in each wheel on the CXS. I'm just waiting to hear one pop or bend or every little bump and my weight being thrown right back on the wheels.
While this still feels bumpy, this is something I could spend half a day doing though, with the Stein.
I don't share that sentiment at all on the CXS.
The suspension here makes all the difference. You know, it really puts things into perspective when you have a trike like the CXS that is a fantastic trike. I mean, I really like the CXS.
Well, you know, we kept pointing out it's done everything the Stein did.
Yeah, and we're here, we're riding together.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it. I don't know though that you'd want to do a full day of riding like this though.
You know, and I keep hearing every bump, every big bump at least, I can hear that suspension bottom out.
Yeah, from back here, I can see the suspension on your CXS there moving. So it is moving. You know, the CXS suspension is really just a spring.
Yeah.
There's no dampening, there's no shocks on there. You know, where the Stein suspension, not only is the travel significantly more, but it is also adjustable.
When we got on this track, I was asking which one we want to go in the front. We'll put the CXS in the front. It's making sense because this is as fast as I could possibly go on this track.
If I was in front right now on the Stein, I would be able to go a lot faster.
I would lose you, and there's no chance I'd be able to keep up with you. You know, but again, it can't be overstated. It's doing it.
It is doing it.
At a fraction of the cost, I'm doing it. You know, frankly, I think I've had enough of beating myself up on the CXS. I think we proved our point.
Yeah, you ready to go back to the street?
Let's get back to the street.
Let's do it. We're back on the road, and I'm back in the CXS.
No, it's good.
And it's night and day, you know.
Yeah.
Being on those tracks with the CXS, that really is, I think, probably the limit of this trike.
Oh, yeah.
I think that that's going to carry over to a lot of people. Like if you're riding off-road and maybe you're in creek beds or, you know, really rocky terrain, a trike like the Stein there, it's no contest.
No.
You know, and what I think it really comes down to, it's not the technical aspect so much of can you do it? Because I think the answer is yes. I think if I really wanted to, you know, most scenarios, if I wanted to, if you're gonna ride it in the SteinTrike, I could ride it on the CXS.
Right.
It's just gonna be a lot more brutal.
A lot more brutal. And again, if you're worried about getting out there and keeping pace with other riders,
right,
this Stein's your best chance.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I think where it really comes down to is a lot of riders, they equate performance to speed. You just can't go as fast if you're on the verge of getting thrown off.
Right, right.
You know,
That's a good way of putting it. I've been trying to figure out how to say it.
Yeah, if
you're
doing everything you can just to hold on to the trike, then you're not going to be able to go as fast.
That was even with the motor, and I was taking that on the same train track, I couldn't go as fast. That motor wants to push me. I'd have to slow down. I love this off-road right here. And I think, again, this is where the Stein and keeping pace and not slowing down for every bump is going to be shown off the best.
Last week when we took this, you know, we're hitting all of these bumps on that Stein. There's really no limitations.
Every little bump you feel on that CXS pushes your steering. So while you're trying to maintain going straight, I'm just gliding through.
Where I'm noticing it right now, more than anything, kind of weird, but I'm noticing it in my elbow. These horizontal handlebars, the extra leverage that I'm needing to deal with all the bumps, putting a lot more stress
on your arms
my
and
arms.
hands. How you liking that twist grip?
I'm a big fan of bar end shifters. That requires a vertical handlebar. With these horizontal handlebars, I think the twist grips do fine because these are the cheaper entry-level shifters. You know, they do require a little more effort to shift than some of the other shifters out there.
I feel like the Stein came to life. We hit this trail.
Where I'm really feeling it here on the CXS, it's taken a lot more effort. I know how much effort it takes to go this fast on the Stein. I see how much effort you're putting in. You know, I'm really having to put a lot more effort in to keep up with you, and not just pedaling effort, but it's like a whole physical body.
You're working out.
You know, exercise-wise, I feel like this is much more of a workout, an upper body workout. Like
a full body workout.
I'm feeling it in my pecs and in my forearms a lot more. This is the thing. The CXS is the most popular off-road fat tire trike. There are a ton of people out there that have this trike, and they're going in all sorts of terrain and they're riding in all sorts of places. I'm not really limited by the trike. I think this trike would go most places that I would take that SteinTrike I just wouldn't be able to go as fast and maybe even as far
Right.
without
Like,
really,
frankly, your body be beaten up a lot
yeah,
more.
really hard to beat a good suspension.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really thankful that we're back on the road.
I got on the road and again, immediately felt like that sweet spot for the Stein was lost. It's hard to make a trike that doesn't feel good on the road, but I definitely felt the suspension and the need for suspension a lot more off-road.
With the CXS here, because the suspension is so simple, we do recommend that people get our Ackerman compensator kit to kind of fix the alignment. For a $2,500 trike, I think the CXS is probably the best bang for the buck that there is. You'd be really hard pressed to find a better trike for $2,500.
Fat tire and full suspension doesn't typically mean cheap.
Right. And there's really not a lot in between that.
No.
The next fat tire trikes that you're going to go to, you're above $4,000.
Right.
You know, the SteinTrike that you're on right now, you're in the $8,000 plus range. Is the Stein better? Yes. Is it better in every way? I would also say yes, probably. You
Right.
know?
It better be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you be able to go most trails and most places that you want to go? The trike here will take you there, but you're going to go at your limit.
Right.
Speaking of that, I think it's time to switch again.
I'm up for it.
You know, these trikes are set up with the same gear range. I can feel it 100%. The Stein just feels easier to pedal and to ride. Part of that is a little more efficient chain line, I think.
It's funny you point out, I actually feel like I can feel each cog in my rotation.
Right.
I feel every little crack.
I will say this seat is so much more comfortable on the Rebel here. The upper back support is really what does it for me.
As taller guys, I couldn't agree more.
I like the bottom seat of that CXS. You mentioned it earlier, and now I think I know exactly what you were referring to. Was that foam on the bottom there?
I felt it in the back of my butt.
Like this SteinTrike, if I had that foam right on the bottom of the seat, that would probably make me a happy camper.
It solved all my issues.
I think so.
I went from that one with my butt hurting, now my back hurts on this one.
Yeah, and I really like this contour seat. For a rider my height, I'm 6'2", you're 6'4", this upper shoulder curve, it just hits me in just the right spot.
You know, I can already feel it in my hands and the elbow, that horizontal steering. I almost feel like throwing them over like ape hangers.
Yeah, let's get over on this other side.
Say,
and
go hit it on the...
Yeah, so I'm gonna ride, make sure that I'm comparing this like I thought I was. These are all the same bumps that I was hitting before. I'm hitting them again. To be frank, I don't even feel them. Like I'm rolling over these turf bumps here, these potholes. I keep waiting to actually feel the bump, and I don't even feel the bump on this Rebel here.
So I wasn't nearly as off-road as you were on our way from the other direction. I already feel every bump.
Yeah.
And I can immediately feel the steering pushing and pulling in every direction.
Right.
And I'm constantly trying to fight it just to keep it straight.
We're comparing a stock CXS trike there from the factory, and Stein, they're supplying us with frame kits. We've actually matched the wheels and tires on these. We've matched the gearing. What we're really comparing here is the frame, the seat, the suspension, the steering, the handling.
Gosh, I don't know if that's being picked up on camera enough. It really, every bump, I'm feeling that wobble.
Yeah, you know, it's that combination of direct steering and minimal suspension. Where you really feel that suspension is at its limits on the CXS. We're two bigger guys.
Right.
If you were a lighter guy, you might get a little more suspension. But let's face it, the CXS only has 1 inch of suspension travel.
Right.
to start with.
And I was on the Stein, I'm sure you felt the same way. I'm almost aiming for bumps to see what it can and can't handle and what I'm gonna feel and not feel.
Right.
CXS, I'm avoiding. I'm looking for things in the road to go, oh, I don't wanna hit that.
That last off-road section there, I was exactly finding,
I mean,
like
you're
I'm plotting in my head, go take this route to go around the bumps and the dips in the road, where with the Stein, I kept going, I didn't feel that. I'm gonna hit
the next one.
I'm gonna hit a next one. I'm trying to see what the limits are. I think it goes without saying that we got a good workout today. That's a good ride. Any day that you can go out and have a good trike ride, be outside, the weather's nice, minimal traffic, you know, that's gonna be a good day.
Yeah.
Whatever trike people choose, if they can find something that helps them get outside and helps them to enjoy their lives more, then it's a good way to go.
Get busy riding or get busy dying.
Yeah. You know, and that's really it.
You know, the CXS did everything like the Stein. Yeah, it has some things that I wish it did better or was more comparable with the Stein, but I still did it. We're back here in one piece.
All right, guys, we're back at the shop here. We got to compare the Stein Rebel with the fat tires to the Sunseeker Fat Tad CXS. And just to sum it all up here, these are both fantastic off-road fat tire trikes.
I think it goes without saying they both proved themselves.
I mean, that was it. There was no area that we went that, you know, only the Stein could go and the CXS couldn't go, you know, and that says a lot for the CXS. Now, I will say, if we go through the qualifications, steering and handling, the indirect underseat steering of the SteinTrike definitely feels smoother and better than the direct steering on the CXS trike. The seat on the SteinTrike feels better, although I do like that seat cushion that's on that CXS, and I wouldn't mind taking that foam and tucking that in this Stein seat here. The real reason why we're looking at this SteinTrike here is this fantastic suspension. I think it really owns the day, the terrain here. I would say without a doubt, 100% in every qualification, the Stein Rebel beats the Sunseeker Fat Tad CXS. It's better, it really is better in every way, but it costs 3 times as much. That's a huge issue, and I would say most riders aren't going to be riding on the roughest terrain like we did.
Right.
And I would say if you were, you know, if you're keeping to dirt paths and some minor off-road and some grassy trails, that kind of thing, the CXS is going to be totally adequate for you.
Say, for the price of this CXS, I'm very impressed with how it handled and kind of kept up with the Stein.
And you could get 2 of the CXSs with motors for the price of 1 Stein without a motor.
Sure.
The difference though, again, it really comes down to that suspension. I have a bad back and I was feeling my upper body and my elbow and everything were hurting on the CXS. The SteinTrike here, buttery smooth. You know, we both mentioned it. We're hitting those bumps on purpose to see how effective is the suspension, and it is incredibly effective. We're just riding and it's smooth. And with the SteinTrike, I could take this trike anywhere and ride comfortably all day long.
I think that we pushed this trike to its limits, whereas a rider, I was still able to go a little further, whereas the Stein, I didn't find that limit.
The whole time we were riding, I was riding at my limit on the SteinTrike.
Right.
I never hit a point where it was the trike's limit. Like I couldn't go faster, I couldn't go harder because of the trike. And I felt like we were both riding at the CXS limit, you know, as far as one of us could only go fast enough on the CXS,
right?
You know, because at that point you're like holding on, you know.
All that being said, stay tuned for when we get these outfitted with a motor. We'll take the rider out of the equation and really push these trikes.
We will be putting 1,000-watt motors on both of these, matching them up, and I think at that same time we will be doing a few upgrades to the CXS to try to bring it up a little bit to par so we can have a little bit better comparison there, not just a stock model. Well, in the meantime, guys, we encourage you to relax, spin fast, and ride trikes. Get out whenever you can, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Make for a really cool video. We get bit by a snake out here. Yeah,
You know
a
what?
testament
I
of
didn't grab
confidence.
my helmet.
Or I can walk
No,
it
it's
real
right
quick.
there.
We just lost it. Oh, thank God.
Yeah. What is that squeak?
It's in your back.
Where's the helmet at?
Feeling unsafe today.
You're doing off-road with no helmet?
If we heard my Pokemon Go gotcha buzz, you're gonna hear that squeak.
Look at us law-abiding citizens.
One stop sign you don't have to cut out.
Right.